Good evening.
Good evening, and welcome to the Online Wine Tasting Club and Wines of New Zealand.
It feels like we've done Wines of New Zealand a few times in the past, but when we looked back at it, it hadn't been for quite some length of time. And this is something we felt it had to correct, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's the beginning of the year, and it's all the kind of trade tastings are rolling around at this point of the year. And one of my favourite is the Australia and New Zealand trade tasting. It's always in January. It's when people are doing dry January and the world's a bit miserable and everything's a bit grey. It's always a nice event to get to and catch up with people in the trade, see what's new in the world, some brilliant wines, some brilliant people. And once again, it's really hard to narrow it down to just 6 wines to showcase. But we've tried to do a little bit of a blend today of some things that are
things
classic,
you might expect,
some things that are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So as always, we've got Slido. Anyone who's joining us for the first time, if you go right there, see, scan that QR code, or go to TOWTC.co.uk/taste. And you are able on another device to put your tasting notes in, join our end of show quiz, and all that kind of fun stuff. So really excited to have everybody in the chat, ask your questions, chat away. But first things first, I think we should get wine number 1 in the glass.
Let's do that. I've got some nice messages from people saying hello to everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all as well. It's been it feels like a very long time since we last did a tasting, doesn't it? I don't know. It's probably approximately a month, but
to be fair, since we do a monthly tasting, yes, I would
give or take.
That is a fair guess. But I like New Zealand, and I think what's great about New Zealand is the fact that I think everybody has heard of New Zealand wine. I think New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is a brilliant place from where we went from going. As people learn about wine, you like red, you like white, and then there was kind of people wanted a dry or a medium or something like that. Then there was kind of regionality where people I wanted a Chablis or a Sancerre, and there wasn't always that link between Chablis and Chardonnay or Sancerre and Sauvignon Blanc.
No.
And I think Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc was one of the first styles of wine that people knew they wanted a particular grape from a particular place, and that is how they would order wine. I think one of the first ones that went that way with red was an Argentinian Malbec, but I think New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc was one of the first kind of really commercial brands that was of a wine of a place and a name, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So this is Tohu, and I think when we talk about New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and we talk, it's coming to the tasting notes.
Gooseberry.
But this is the first Maori-owned winery in New Zealand, and rather than me try and explain it all, we have a lovely little video that explains who they are, what they do, and all about this wine. So enjoy the wine, taste along, pop your tasting notes in, and we'll come back and discuss it a little further. Just a couple of minutes.
He aha te mea nui o te ao. What is most important in the world? He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. It is people, people, people. Since 1998, Tohu has focused on creating internationally acclaimed wines from sub-regions in New Zealand's premier grape-growing regions. Tohu is the world's first Māori-owned wine label, with approximately 4,000 owners who descend from the customary Māori landowners, the whānau and hapu of the Whakatū, Motueka and Mohua Rohe. Tohu's winemaking philosophy is to create wines that capture flavours unique to the region while preserving the land for future generations.
I consider myself as the kaitiaki of this vineyard. It's about having a close connection of what we're doing on this whenua.
Tohu is sourced entirely from New Zealand's most famous wine region, Marlborough. The Marlborough region is split into 3 sub-regions: the Southern Valleys, Wairau Valley and Awateri Valley. Tohu Sauvignon Blanc comes from Awateri Valley and brings to life the unique climate of the region. The high-altitude site sits on the fringes of grape-growing possibilities, but the Māori were pioneers in the valley and we were confident the land would provide for us. Cooler and drier than other parts of Marlborough, our Teddy Valley's growing season is longer with slower ripening. Combine this with dry, free-draining soil, and the result is a unique, mineral-driven flavour profile.
You know, it's a special site, and I think that feeling for the land comes through in the wines because it's about care and attention to detail, and that love for the land hopefully comes through in the wine.
This vibrant wine displays aromas of tropical passion fruit, citrus zest, and underlying notes of freshly crushed herbs. With outstanding fruit concentration, balanced with zesty underlying minerality, this lively fresh wine leads to a pure and focused dry finish. The Tohu Sauvignon Blanc has been recognised not only for its exceptional characteristics and flavours, but for its rich malty background.
I think what makes Tohu unique, first and foremost, you know, it starts in the vineyard, and our ownership as well, you know, is a fundamental part of the ethics and the values of the company all come out of our Māori ownership.
We are proud to showcase the Awa Teddy Valley to the world. Ngā hua a te whenua, our gift from the land.
Well, there we have it. It couldn't really be anything else, could it? It's, you know exactly where it's from, and yet it's definitely, there are so many levels of quality within that classic sort of, you know, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc style. And this is not chased down to that sort of the how can we deliver the simplest version of that for the least money?
Absolutely. I think it's elegant, but it's still powerful. It's still powerful. It's got that gooseberry and passion fruit.
Yes.
It's unmistakable. So where we are, just for a little bit of New Zealand geography, and New Zealand split into two islands, we've got North Island, South Island, and here we are at the very, Marlborough is the northern tip, but where we are in the Atawera Valley is the southern part of Marlborough. And as it said during the video, that gives you a little bit cooler, slightly longer ripening seasons. So you can get this more intensity of flavour, this more pronounced gooseberry, this richer, riper style. But because you've got that cooliness, you can still keep your acidity high and keep this beautiful, beautiful freshness.
Do you know, it's funny. I love hearing all the stuff about, you know, these wonderful Maori sayings and expressions, gifts from the land and all of that. But this isn't a very traditional style of winemaking. It's a very scientific style of winemaking. And while there's definitely some roots coming from the earth, I think it's important to accept that Sauvignon Blanc is in especially the style that New Zealand did, is one which benefits from all of the scientific advances and all the scientific work they put into that, and from mechanized techniques like mechanical harvesting. It's not made worse by the fact they have to send out a mechanical harvester in the middle of the night. It's made better. So in a way, I suppose this is a nice balance between some kind of traditional thinking and some scientific techniques. But yeah, who knows? It benefits from, I'm sure it benefits from both of them.
Actually, you know, Marlborough is an interesting one. We've seen recently the price of Sauvignon Blanc is creeping up and up and up and up because there's nowhere else to plant. Marlborough is full. And what's really interesting is there's people going, let's extend Marlborough a little bit because people want to get in there. But then obviously the people who are already there and already planted and have what they have go,
no,
we don't need to extend that at all.
Yeah, we have.
So there are those challenges. But once again, if you can just extend a region, is it really?
Good question. Good question. Yeah.
So yeah, but you know, it's interesting. Sauvignon Blanc has become the key there, but it never used to be. You know, it had so many things were grown in, and there are still lots of other bits and pieces, but Sauvignon Blanc is absolutely king. But yes, what they used to do is, you know, they had all these things, and they wanted to grow more Sauvignon Blanc because it was popular, more. And if you wanted to put more Sauvignon Blanc in the ground, you had to rip something up, plant Sauvignon Blanc, and then you'd have 5-7 years before you could get anything. What they did a huge amount of in Marlborough was what's called chip budding, that they left the original roots and vines in the ground.
Yeah.
They cut a little piece out of it, inserted Sauvignon Blanc, taped it up, let it grow together, and then you have Sauvignon Blanc on a different root, which you can turn around in just a year or two and start to get fruit. So it's a much quicker process to allow you to.
It's absolutely mad. All you're taking from the Sauvignon vine is one single bud, and then you're grafting that bud into the roots and the trunk of the other vine, and you try to line it up. There are various different techniques for doing it. various different people who love in viticulture love to have arguments about which way should you cut the vine, which is the most likely to lead to the strongest and most disease resistant, because it is a bit of a Frankenstein-like thing trying to cross these two things, and that's not genetically crossing them, it's literally grafting one onto the other. But what you're trying to do is to line up the special cambium layer of the plant, which sits just kind of in beneath the outer woody side and out from the main bit. You want to try to line up the cambium layer of the old vine and the new vine so that they can still work together effectively. It's very much like a kind of an organ transplant, basically, which is mad. But but what do you think of this? Where does this rank? And also, I'd be fascinated, what is your attitude to Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand when you see it coming on a wine list now? Do you still have that sort of love for it, or have you developed a, oh god, I don't want to touch a Sauvignon Blanc these days?
It can be polarizing because it is such a powerful in your face. It's you've got some Sauvignon, it's great. If you're doing a blind tasting, I would take this as a start all day every day, because it can't be anything else. You can open a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc from 3 miles away and you can smell those aromas when it's coming from Marlborough. And brilliant style. Sometimes it can be overbearing. With food pairings, you've got to be quite careful because light wine, it's a white wine and it's light in body. It's got acidity in it, but it can't go with something that's too light because it will overpower it.
Totally.
So if you're going with seafood, it needs to be a big meaty seafood like swordfish or some heavier shellfish, because this will, anything that's delicate will get lost a little bit.
You might as well be eating some like corn or something.
Exactly.
No, I actually really enjoyed this one. I think we have a strange relationship with Sauvignon Blanc because it's always, for us, it's a bit of the canary in the mine when we're talking about the wine preservation side of our business and trying to make sure that we can do it. And we've gone back and we've been we love to go back and retest through old stuff that we've packed up and see how it goes. And if you get a Sauvignon Blanc that goes off, it goes off really badly. And it's because there's this category of aromas and flavors in it which come under this family of chemicals called thiols. Don't worry about what that is. What you need to know is that gives it its distinctive flavor. And it comes from a sort of a mixture of different elements coming together. It's not just a one thing from the grape. And that's why this bashing up of the grapes with the mechanical harvesting, the kind of yeast they use, the fermentation temperatures they use, it all comes together to enhance those. But they are exceptionally reactive to oxygen. So if you do get too much oxygen into this, you know about it. And it's
not great.
Not good at all. So, but equally, when we've now found... We've tasted a really interesting thing at the London Wine Fair last year, where we were going back to some screw cap old Sauvignon Blancs from like 20, 30 years ago. And it was really fascinating to see how they're doing.
1994?
I think, 94, I believe, something along those lines.
Finn's comment there.
Finn's got a thing,
yeah. We had that in our advent calendar. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
Lovely.
And I like St. Clair. We've featured St. Clair a few times, and they make brilliant wines. But the Sauvignon Blanc in oak gives it a whole different dynamic, a whole different style. And it's we can say way forward is a different thing. If you like this style, chucking it at oak kind of rounds it out a little bit.
Oak leads to a lot of the oxygen coming in. So you have this thing called micro-oxygenation. If you're doing everything right, if you're not screwing it up, you're still getting this micro-oxygenation coming into it. And that will react with those chemicals. So for that kind of one, you might want to suppress that a bit and use a slightly different winemaking technique. So, but the St. Clair one is masterful. It's really, really excellent.
Really good. I think there's so many great wines to choose from. And yes, New Zealand Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc has a style. But, when you go and taste 10, 12, 15 of them side by side, it's not same as. If you go and do, I'm going to get shot for saying this. If you go and do the general entry level supermarket, yes, because they're all made for a style.
Yeah.
But
to be honest, a lot of them are the same wine, just with a different label.
But when you go and taste and, you talk about the sub-regions and the different valleys within, and there is absolutely a difference. They're all of the same class and you know where they're from. But when you taste them side by side, there's really some interesting nuance between them.
I agree. So what have we got on our tasting notes? We have obviously the classic ones: gooseberry, fresh grass, but also some interesting things I wouldn't perhaps expect to see there, like satsuma and white currants. I'm also going to be in a white pepper. Almost like that kind of slightly grunery sort of feeling. Yeah.
But yeah, lime, fresh grass. I can't read.
Fresh glass.
But
Glass.
there are those kind of like slightly orangey mandarin kind of things going on in there. But you see, like the two big tasting notes in there: gooseberry and passion fruit, and that is, I think, exactly what we have come to expect from this. But
tasty though, very nice.
It does exactly what it says on the tin. You know,
Who would you say are the standout producers in New Zealand now these days for Sauvignon? Because obviously it used to be a cloudy bay kind of.
I'm not allowed to say.
You're not allowed to say that. You're allowed to have opinions.
Well, I am, but you know, I'll
Jamie not having opinions.
I'll miss someone out, and someone will shout at me.
That's fair. Okay.
There's so many great ones, and a lot of little ones that don't even get the light of day over here. So, but no, Tohu are great. St. Clair I've always been a fan of. But yeah, too many to choose from.
Too many to choose from. That is fine. Well, if you've got some favourites of your own, pop them in the chat, and we shall shall tell you. Well, Jane will tell you you're wrong or right.
We've got a new one that I need to get up on the website. It's just come in. From one of our South American.
Oh yes, indeed.
Distributors have spread their wings a little bit and picked up a couple of New Zealand wines in portfolio, but the Antsmore Sauvignon Blanc, which will be heading to the website as soon as I get in front of my laptop because it arrived today, is just so high acid, so fresh, so zippy, so zingy. Just it's that New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc that's just makes your eyes water, but in a good way. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So it's that kind of style. But anyway, that's enough about wines that aren't on the tasting.
Fair enough.
And we are, as I said, Marlborough is all about Sauvignon Blanc, except when it's not.
And it's
about Albarino. And there used to be in Marlborough a decent amount of Albarino, a decent amount of Gruner Veltliner. There's all different bits and pieces, and you know it fell foul to a lot of this chip budding.
Yeah. Well, if all the buyers want to buy is infinite Sauvignon Blanc, you're going to make it all Sauvignon Blanc. So. Albarino at the time was a bit of a hard sell, I'd imagine, but now, of course, it's one of the most popular. I probably should have rinsed this glass. It's still going to smell of Sauvignon Blanc, isn't it?
It is. It's a very powerful.
Oh, is it?
Wine.
Oh, interesting.
But I think Albarino for me is maybe the most up and coming grape on the planet right now. As far as it's getting notoriety, seeing it on more restaurant wine lists, seeing it in more independent retailers, and seeing it more and more just on like the supermarket shelves. You know, a lot of it is Galicia, northwest Spain, and we tasted a few of them this week at the Taste of Spain event. But we're also seeing some Albarino in California. We're seeing some Albarino in Australia. We're seeing some Albarino in Uruguay. Some really, really good Albarino in Uruguay. And then here, and what have we got in New Zealand? We've got, decent, it's coastal. So you've got that that maritime influence. You've got long sunlight hours. So it is perfect conditions for Albarino. You kind of, you look and compare it to Galicia or, off, the Montevideo coast in Uruguay. And you've got that similarity where you have that coastal influence, that maritime influence, that salinity coming into the vineyards. And, the long sunshine hours to allow that ripeness and that richness. But that coastal breeze keeps it cool enough that you still keep the acidity, because Albarino without acidity is a very, very sad thing.
That is peachy, but it's lovely, isn't it? Wow. It's I think they've looking at this, they've done quite a similar technique in the winemaking to what they know and love from the Sauvignon world. They've machine harvested it, but they've actually been using a very high-tech harvester which does the destemming as it goes along as well, and probably also sorting out, getting rid of all of the grapes they don't want. So
yeah, so it's sorted, then it's
Yeah.
destemmed, it's temperature controlled, cold
Mhm.
fermentation to keep
Yeah.
that freshness.
and with a bit of a cold soak as well, which is I think probably why it's quite so intense. You're getting a lot of the flavors come from the skins, and with white wine making, generally speaking, you press it away from the skins quite early, but they're doing a bit of a cold soak where they're taking this, and I think because it's been machine harvested again, the juice will be in contact with the skins, and then that thing, yeah, it won't be a vast amount. It's not like making an orange wine or anything, but it's just starting to get some of those flavors out of the skins and into the juice, and then it gets fermented, and it's got a real intensity to it, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
So their recommended pairing for this is pancetta wrapped scallops with saffron and herb risotto. that sounds all right to me. I think that would work.
I think that is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that is what the world needs.
But yeah, the acidity is cut through the fat from the pancetta, and scallops again. They're a sort of medium flavor intensity, aren't they? They're not that
So they're
kind of
medium
super
flavour texture,
subtle,
but they've got this nice texture. They've
Yeah.
got this nice texture that kind of leads to it being a bit more meaty.
Mhm.
You want that acidity, that meaty, that fattiness feeling to it. So, but you just see this tasting notes are like all over the place. Lots of stuff. A lot of this stone fruit, a lot of
good
this
way.
orange, a lot of this ripeness.
Yeah.
Peach, mangoes, apricots.
Then the lemon and lime, you'll understand the citrusy things definitely there, absolutely. But I think that also this is very much a stainless steel wine. It's where they're trying to let the grape speak for itself, and it can, and it needs to. If you were to slap this in a bunch of oak, it would be a disaster zone.
Yeah, they leave it on the leaves for a little bit. That gives you that little bit of texture, but it doesn't need any more than
No.
that. It doesn't need a load of batonnage. It doesn't need a load of, it doesn't need oak aging. Just that little bit of leaves, just to add that little bit of texture, that little bit of complexity, that little bit of
Mouthfeel.
fun to it.
Yeah, we've used pretty much all of the terms that we like to say we're not going to use there, so excellent. Well, that's fine. I like this. I think it's very distinct from the Spanish styles. Like, I'm just back from Spain, and then we did a Spanish tasting, which is kind of ironic. But lots of blue bottled, delicious Albarenos, which are very cool, clean, and crisp, and kind of more steer into that sort of replacement Pinot Grigio.
This is more
category.
weighty, more kind of sits on the palate, more much
It's more foody and
in
richer.
style,
Yeah,
really.
Yep, I love it. It's really good, really good.
Is our chat working, or does no one want to talk to us?
I hope it's working, but
Yeah,
do say hello if.
No, I'm seeing the tasting notes coming up, so I'm sure.
Yeah,
that's fine.
tasting it. People are definitely there. So we've got what other things that we have? Wet slate. I like that. That's definitely on that minerality side of things, isn't it? Green gauge and bergamot. Excellent. But a plum, I wouldn't have expected to see in there at all. But we're going to see if we can spot that. Let's have a look for plum. Do you know, while it is a foodie wine, I'd still be totally happy for that outside. Now, I think we've got some people who have been to New Zealand in the chat. I know my parents went, was it last year? I think it was, wasn't it? Was it the year before? No, I think it was last year. And had an amazing trip. My dad sent me through some pictures, and I can't share them because they're all in a Word document. Finn has also been and has sent some pictures, and if I get a chance a bit later, I will try to see if I can extract those and pop some of them up. But I mean, it's definitely, I think it's one of those places where there's just so much variety to the landscape. It is just a magnificent country.
There's an interesting tourist stat of people going to New Zealand. 27% of people who travel to New Zealand go to a vineyard, go to wine country, which I think is huge.
That's got to be at the top end of. I mean, maybe people going to the Napa Valley might go to a vineyard, but that's
we're talking
wine
region
for an entire country.
Yes.
It's astonishing.
I'm not saying 50% of people who go to Bordeaux go to a wine room. Of course you do, because that's where you go. But yeah, for the entire country, 27% of people who go to New Zealand will go to a winery or wine region, which is, it's just some of the New Zealand stats are brilliant. For as well known as it is, it makes 1% of the world's wine. That is it.
That's it.
And it is, so if it makes 1% of the world's wine, surely it should be on 1% of the world's wine lists. It's really not. It's on every
100%.
you know, every solid that's not a regionally pushed wine list. It's everywhere, isn't it? It's absolutely everywhere. If it's not the if it's not the Sauvignon Blanc, it's the Pinot Noir from Martinborough,
or Chardonnay from Gisborne, maybe,
or Hawke's Bay. It's got the ability across the two islands, across the different, landscapes, climate, microclimates, to make everything from absolutely crisp, dry Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc, to go up to Waiheke Island and drink some of those Syrahs that are made up there that are just massive, big, overblown, like jammy,
in a good way,
but are brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and everything in between. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I'll take that. So that's Albarino. So what are we going on to next? We're staying on the whites, are we? I can't remember.
Yes, so we are heading south, and we're heading to Central Otago, which is probably more famous for its Pinot Noir. When we talk about world-class Pinot Noir, we talk about Burgundy, Willamette Valley,
Santa Barbara,
maybe Yarra Valley, and then for New Zealand, it's definitely Central Otago is the one that people know. Martinborough makes a great Pinot as well, but I think Otago is the one that kind of hits the name brand. So if we're going to Central Otago, we should drink
Pinot Noir,
Riesling.
So,
we've got we'll get the Riesling in the glass. We'll move the tasting notes on, but we've got a little Central Otago video from our friends at Wines of New Zealand, beautifully put together. Bottom left, I think.
Bottom left.
And give it a little intro. We'll taste some Riesling, and we'll be right back.
Enjoy.
From its snow-capped mountains that flow into glacial lakes to deep valleys and arid landscapes, Central Otago is a land of extremes. It's New Zealand's southernmost wine region and New Zealand's only continental climate, with no influence from the sea. With its sub-regions defined by epic mountain ranges, this creates a tapestry of mesoclimates. The Southern Alps play an important role in Central Otago, acting as a barrier to the wet, westerly weather. This results in low rainfall and summer temperatures regularly above 30 degrees Celsius. Central Otago's soil structure is unlike that of any other region in New Zealand. Formerly known for its gold mining prospects, the ancient glaciers have left behind exposed schist outcrops, deposits of silica, quartz and mica. Mixed over thousands of years with ancient river gravels, this unique blend has created the perfect, free-draining, low-vigour soil. Situated east and a short drive from Queenstown along the spectacular Kawerau Gorge lies Gibbston, Central Otago's coolest sub-region. With mostly Pinot Noir grown on these free-draining river gravel slopes, the long, cool and dry summers create wines with naturally higher acidity and a lighter but intense fruit profile. South of Cromwell, along the north-facing Kawerau River terraces, you'll find Bannockburn. These special sites occupy some of the warmest, driest conditions in Central Otago, and as a result, produce distinctively complex wines. The soils are varied, from heavy clay loams to free-draining sandy loams and schist gravels, perfect for Pinot Noir, Riesling and Chardonnay. Surrounding the township of Cromwell, this eponymous sub-region has vineyards from the valley floor up to the lower terraces, running parallel to the Pisa mountain range. The wines of Cromwell have a distinct silkiness and a fine tannin structure. the valley from Cromwell, Bendigo, a true northwest-facing location, is the warmest sub-region in all of Central Otago. Vines are planted on the north-facing slopes, with stony soils capturing the region's hot summer sun and releasing this energy throughout the cool summer nights. Along with Pinot Noir, Bendigo is gaining a reputation as having the ideal conditions to produce some of the highest quality aromatic white wines. Following the mighty Clutha up to its source, you'll find stunning Lake Wanaka. As a sub-region, Wanaka is cool and slightly wetter than the Gibbston and Cromwell areas, producing some of Central Otago's most vivid and delicate Pinot Noirs. The reflected sunlight of Lake Wanaka plays an important role here, mitigating frost. Heading back down the Clutha River to Central Otago's most southerly sub-region, Alexandra, the climate here is as extreme as it gets. The large diurnal range, in both summer and winter, gives the resulting wines a fine structure and vivid aromatics. As one of the world's most southerly wine regions and New Zealand's highest, Central Otago's continental climate is marked by its diurnal variation of hot days and cool, clear nights. This breathtaking landscape has all the right ingredients to deliver purity, complexity, and sub-regional variation in every glass.
Right.
So yeah, so I just this
Lots of Pinot.
this goes the other way. We talked about Sauvignon Blanc being machine harvested, bulk, quick done. This region down in Otago is all hand harvested from 2 different vineyard sites, carefully selected. So, you know, just a very different style of winemaking. But once again, look, watching that video, it just is showcasing that regionality is key.
But even within one,
But it's not just Otago. There's the different parts, the different places. And what's interesting about Otago, it is the only major region in New Zealand that isn't coastal. Everything else is on the coast. Central Otago is the central, kind of gives it away, doesn't it? But you know, you're down on the South Island, and I just think this showcases what Riesling can be. This is a dry style. It's less than 5 grams in there. You know, acid 7.5 grams. So you've got this real.
It's got good acidity. Not at the very top end of Rieslings, perhaps, but plenty, a nicely balanced wine.
And it's called the Peregrine because it's named after the famous New Zealand falcon that you know.
Karearea.
It is. There's a song about that.
There is
There's a song about that. So yeah, so that's what's on the label. Where is it? We've got one here, haven't we?
Yeah,
We're gonna change it
I'll
up.
get the
We're
extra
gonna change it
camera.
up.
That is. There we go.
There we are.
Hold on. Yeah, is that right? No, that's still on the other one.
That's all right.
It's fine. I'll find it. One sec. There we go.
That one. There we are. So there you are. As we say,
It's closer than you need to look at us, isn't
it's
it?
got animal on the label, so you know it's got to be good. So yeah, so it's a dry style Riesling, but it's got this classic petrol-y. You know, this is what I love in Riesling. It's dry, it's petrol-y, it's you look at the taste notes. It's petrol and pineapple, which
It's an odd combination. You
Which
wouldn't
is-
necessarily think it would work,
and
but it does.
I always go about tasting that. I'm
Yeah.
like, tasting notes, they don't always sound brilliant, do they? They don't always sound brilliant. So
But how do you? Where would, if you were to try to draw a parallel with somewhere else in the world that makes Riesling, what would you kind of think this would be? Sort of.
This is. I don't know. You know, it's got that almost like Austrian feel about aged German Riesling, but it's its own style. It's you know, it's always tough to go, this is like something from
Yeah,
somewhere
of
else,
course.
because it's not. It's its own thing. You know, it's without a doubt that Riesling. It's Riesling.
Yep, unmistakably so. Yep.
But it's 23 vintage, and for me, this feels more like an aged Riesling. This feels like it should be a little bit older than it is because of these outliers. There's this kind of this dried fruit aspect to it. That petrol kind of. But it's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, Otago, for geography's sake, is the southernmost commercial wine growing region in the world. So you're at 45 degrees latitude south. You're a long way down.
There are a couple of points of Patagonia which are now just about on the same kind of level, but it's very small scale compared to this. Is this? I'm just trying to look at Finn's picture. Is this Peregrine? Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's now right. I need to get that up. Yeah. But obviously, I think Patagonia is a bit higher up, so it's a bit cooler, is it? I think
it is.
If I remember right.
So, but yeah, and just going back to how the wine is made differently. The Sauvignon Blanc is cultured yeast, the exact mechanical of this. This is natural,
native. Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that one is, once again, it's not one is better or one is right or one is wrong. It's about what you're trying to get out of the wine at the end of it.
Good point. And this is one of Finn's pictures from, well, by the looks of it, the Peregrine tasting room, which looks very, very nice indeed. I'm not sure which of these other pictures is Peregrine, but I will have a little look through those. But yeah, I mean, Riesling is one of those wines where I think it's obviously got a bit of a strange reputation with a lot of people, but those who know. And
I think, Riesling, because it's such a broad spectrum of style, from being absolutely bone dry, high acid, take the enamel off your teeth because there's so much acid in it, to the other end that it's so sweet and so rich that your teeth fall out because it's rotted them, and everything in between. So Riesling is, it's my favorite thing to drink because it's so versatile. You can drink it by itself, it goes with food, and this, you could lay this down for 10 years if you wanted to and come back to it. It would develop. You get this lovely, more kind of like nutty flavor, marzipan-y, that kind of stuff. So it's, and I love wines that you can drink now and then go, I can try again in a couple of years, and kind of watch it develop. There's probably not a bad time to open a bottle like this. Depends what you like in it, but it will develop and it will change. And it's not something that you open now and go, oh, I should have left that for a few years. No, drink it now, but also it will do more stuff going forward.
Oh, that's lovely. I like it. Very pleasant indeed. So this, like you say, it's all hand harvested, and I like the fact that this is one of the fun things about Rieslings, is that because it has such high acidity, you want to retain a tiniest little bit of the sugar. So there's an awful lot of people who just basically cold crash it. So that is, they're in these temperature controlled tanks and they just hit it with an awful load of chilled down cooling fluid around the outside of this jacket, and it brings down the temperature, and that stops the ferment. What I like with this is that they wait for the ferment to naturally slow down and to get to that point. And actually, frankly, it's very hard to do it precisely if you don't wait for that. And then they do that. They cool it down and they filter it off the yeast to make sure that you've got this product which is has just enough of the sweetness just to preserve the fruit, just to bring the fruit out. Not that you'd even notice it's sweet. So like Jamie says, less than 5 grams for every litre, which is a lot less than, for example, a dessert wine, which might have 150, 200 grams.
Well,
so
and I think what's
nothing
where it is, there's a lot of people that say being able to taste a level of sweetness, 6 grams is kind of the threshold for you to be able to actually know there's any sugar in there or not. So this is below this. So it's an almost undetectable to us amount of sweetness, and it's there just to hold it in balance rather than add any level of flavor. It's a structural balancing act, which is what this does.
Mm.
But you know, it's another winery, you know, that's certified organic. You know, we're seeing a big growth towards that. Over the last, I think it's 2 years, there's been a 10% rise in how many vineyards are certified organic in New Zealand. There's masses and masses and masses being done. Sustainability, they're on a net zero by 2050 program. But what's really interesting about the sustainability side of New Zealand, it's not you must do this, and this. It's try and do a little bit of everything. Where you can manage your water better, do that. Where you can lightweight, do that. Where you can do this, do this. And there's parameters put in place, but it's about just doing a little bit better where you can. It's not if you don't tick that
every single box,
that
you can't get
level.
the certification. Therefore, you can't be a good person. Yeah, it's all just a holistic approach. One thing I do notice looking at our 6 bottles on the table is that there is not a single bit of tree bark anywhere in the top of them whatsoever.
No, all screw cap, all screw cap.
And do you know what that means for us? It means that when we open the bottles, there aren't so many bad ones. And, you know, generally speaking, when we're dealing with younger wines, it's not much of a problem. But when we're starting to open older wines, the sheer number of destroyed bottles from cork taint is absolutely astonishing. And it might not even be to the point where it's horrifically bad tasting. It's just that compared to the other bottles, that one that had the slightly bad cork and is starting down that path of cork taint death is just not fruity enough. It's not got the life to it, and so we can't put it into the tank with the others, or it'll ruin all the others.
I think there's something to be said for that, and I'm probably going off at a massive tangent as per usual.
Surely not us. No.
But I think that sometimes people talk about corked wine, and there's levels of a wine being corked, and I would guess that just about everybody that is me, you, tasting here today, has had a bottle of wine that was probably very slightly corked, didn't know it was very slightly corked, and just didn't enjoy it.
That's a bit rubbish.
I don't think that's particularly good. And have never gone back to it because you just go, oh, that wasn't a very good one.
So it actually happened to us at Christmas dinner. We opened up a bottle of a Californian Cabernet Sauvignon, and it just didn't wow me in the way that it should have done, because Californian Cabernet Sauvignon is expensive. And it just was like, this is not very interesting. It hadn't got all of those wonderful characteristics that you associate with it. And I just thought, well, let's try the other bottle of it, because I happen to have 2, and the other bottle was wow. And so it was like, wow, because the cork taint chemical, this TCA one, whatever it is, trichloro anisole, isn't it, or something like that. It is one of the easiest to detect in the world, but before it becomes detectable, it just basically the process that the cork taint is effectively this contaminant that's in the cork itself starts to destroy the other things in the wine, and it mops up a lot of the free sulfur, which is your preservative, your antioxidant, and so then the oxygen can affect the wine, and you get this sort of a cascade effect even before you can notice it. So yeah, do be careful, and also don't be afraid of screw caps, because like you said, we've tried ones from 1994 and they were really interesting, and there are better screw caps and worse screw caps, but these guys know what they're doing.
Screw caps have come a long way, and screw caps are designed to look after the wine. You know, they match their wine to their screw cap. All screw caps are created equal. But I think it's something like 95% of wines in New Zealand are under screw cap. It's just that's how wine is done. And you know, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, when I first got in, when I was first a sommelier, people would order a bottle of wine off my wine list, and I take it over, and they go, "Oh, I want that," and then they say, "Screw it, I'll send it back."
I do miss the pop. I will give you that. But also, again, when we're opening 25,000 bottles before Christmas, the pop gets a little bit boring and a little bit. So perhaps we're a weird group. But yeah,
it's that balance of old school romance of opening a bottle. I say no one's got bowl or jug or vase on their side full of screw caps, but most
No.
people have a few corks around
Yep.
from grape bottles they've opened. So, but a cork doesn't make a great wine. A screw cap doesn't make a great
No,
wine. A
the
great
winemaker
wine
makes
makes a
great
great
wine.
and then what they do with it is important.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
anyway,
Well,
is
I
that
hope, I
Riesling?
hope people are enjoying the Riesling because, yeah. Do we want to have one last little look at the tasting notes?
Petrol,
The
Mandarin.
petrol's good now. Mandarin, I think that's very interesting because again, it implies that sort of little bit of skin contact.
Yeah,
but
Mandarin, that orange blossom, cloves, that little bit of spice. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And these guys make some cool stuff. I was really torn with this winery as to which one to put in the tasting because I tasted this and I tasted their Pinot Gris as well. And their Pinot Gris was spectacular as well. Both really, really good wines. And that's the thing. When you only get to put 6 in, it's really tough.
It is tough.
I do for all you lovely people at home. I do have to make some tough choices. I do have to make some big decisions. So
we have some more of Finn's holiday snaps here. Some of these may be, in fact, some say the Peregrine vineyards, and that looks like it's taken from an aeroplane, or but probably not that one. But yeah, we shall move on to the reds. I think.
yeah, someone's mentioned the web chat's not working.
Oh,
Didn't think it was.
that is very strange. Let's try to post one from the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, while we're doing that, should we move the notes on to the next one? How very odd. Testing.
Because it was working because people started chatting, but
Oh yeah. Well, I've sent a note and it's not arrived, so well, anyway, that is the joy of live for everybody. We'll move the tasting notes on, and we are now going to one of our old favorites, and this is Seifried, which is a wonderful Austrian couple who would, I think they're the longest continuously run winery in New Zealand, and it is oh sorry, I'll give you a different one.
you do that.
And so I think it was one of the very first wines we did, wasn't it?
Yeah, their winery on. Yeah, we did a half English, half New Zealand tasting.
Yeah.
It's our very first online wine tasting club, and we did the Gruner Veltliner.
We did.
Guys.
So you can see Gruner, Zweigelt, we are in Austrian heritage time. And the fact is, they've preserved these, they've kept it, they've been respectful to their traditions as well. And I think that is really, really important. And it's great that they didn't just do the other classic thing of ripping it all up and popping in on Sauvignon Blanc. So Zweigelt, a Austrian classic, and I've not tried this before, so I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, so here we are. Can we close it and reopen it? No, the chat.
Not really, no. But I don't think it's going to do that. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about
It is what it
Weigelt
is.
and Nelson, and you know, if you
do get your. In fact, what I
if-
can do, I can perhaps get some
you can add text in.
text in or something. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry. Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
that. You
Okay,
test about the wine.
I can talk about. I'll talk about now. So we are still on the South Island, and we're going back up north, and we're just round the corner from Marlborough. So Marlborough's right on the northeast corner, and then you come round, and you've got a little area called the Tasman Bay. So that comes in, and Nelson is right where the Tasman Bay comes inland. So it's protected 3 sides because you've got the water and then the mountains coming up. More sunshine hours in Nelson than just about anywhere in the world. I think they have 300 sunshine days or something ridiculous like that. So they've got loads of sunshine days, loads of ripeness. But yeah, Seifried make Sauvignon Blanc, they make Pinot Noir, they make the other things, but they have a lot of Austrian stuff because it's an Austrian family, Austrian heritage, brought those vines in. So they make Würzer, they make Zweigelt, they make Gruner Veltliner, they make a brilliant dessert wine.
Yeah.
And I think Zweigelt is such a cool grape. It's got the lightness of Pinot Noir. It's got a little bit of spice. It's got And I really, I've always said, oh, there's a
Yeah,
chat.
Paul's chat's come in. I don't know.
Paul's in.
I have also enabled on the Slido, there is a little tab at the top called Q&A. So if you want to talk to us, you can type a question in. I think everyone else can see it, and we can perhaps feature that somehow. But I have no idea because we're trying this for the first time. But yes, anyway, we've got some people are able to chat, so that's lovely.
So yeah, I've always said
These are some good tasting notes already, aren't they?
People go, how do you describe Zweigelt? And I've always said, if Pinot Noir and Shiraz had a baby and it was Austrian, that would be Zweigelt. It's got this
fair.
Lovely richness about it. It's lovely spice about it. So this particular wine comes from what's called the Bridgewater Vineyard, which is about 15 kilometers from the ocean. And as I said, it's sheltered by the mountains, and that mountain, I say mountains, it's quite a big hill. So it's the Richmond ranges that come around, which allows still coastal breeze to come through and keep cool.
Okay,
but you're not getting beaten up by
the extremities. Yeah,
that
makes sense.
Whipping through. So, but it's tiny. It is tiny. There is 11 rows of Zweigelt, about 1 hectare.
Wow.
So it's really cool, really small production, really fun. And I've always liked these wines. I first started working with the Seyfried wines when I was running Veritas Wine Bar in Washington DC, which was 2007. I opened that.
Is that the one that we went into, which is no longer Veritas Wine Bar? Yeah.
It's now a cocktail bar. But yeah, so I've been working with those wines there since I really became a wine person.
So you were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar before I met you. Yeah, excellent. Sorry. So this feels like a quite soft style of Zweigelt. I know Zweigelt is inherently not like you say, it's not a big. It's got that sort of Pinot style lightness to it.
This is a relatively juicy style.
It's juicy.
It's a juicy style, but if you have a sip of it and then stop, the acidity is mad. The acidity, you've got nearly 5 grams of acid in there, and for a light style of red wine with that juiciness, that's quite
mouth-watering.
It's a decent
whack. A decent whack. Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about the grape. It's all about the wine. It spends 3 months in a little bit of oak just to run it around, just to bring it together. There's a lot of winemaking technique, but there's not a lot of winemaking techniques. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But obviously it's cared for, it's looked after, but it's very much the work is done in the vineyard kind of wine.
Yeah. Thing. It's absolutely classic winemaking. They're not doing anything particularly fancy with it. They're doing punch downs on the ferments twice a day, all very manual, and that's a nice sort of balanced way of doing it. They're not doing massively vigorous pump overs or rack and return where you pump it from one barrel into another. It's just all a mixture of new and old oak.
This is New York strip ribeye steak territory, because it's got brilliant. But no, Herman Zweigelt himself said he thinks this might be the best vintage he's ever had.
Really?
So a potential vintage of a lifetime. 2024, long growing season, very little disease pressure. So there was no reason to pick a certain time apart from it was ready.
It was ready. Yeah.
It was good to go.
I mean, that's an interesting point. And I don't know if we've ever really talked about that, but there are, you what are you looking for when you're trying to harvest the grapes? Obviously, you can start tasting the grapes and look for the flavor development that you want to find. And then you can start doing scientific measurements on them, like squeezing the juice onto your refractometer, holding it up to the light and seeing where the sugar levels are. And then you can take them to the lab and you can do the acidity analysis, both pH and this total acidity, which is basically what you taste for. But then you start looking at the grapes. And of course, the closer you get to harvesting season, the less you can spray them. In fact, basically, in a big period before harvest, you cannot touch them. You can't do anything because obviously the chemicals, they don't want them to be anywhere near the grapes when you're actually eating. You're not wanting to eat chemicals. You're wanting to eat. Well, you're not wanting to drink a wine that's got those chemicals in. So there's a ban period, and of course, each substance that you use in the vineyard for various different purposes, whether it's killing bugs that are trying to eat the grapes, or whether it's for stopping molds growing in the grapes, they have their sort of keep out time. So if it starts getting wet, which New Zealand can get a little bit wet, it has some water, some say, and you're getting towards that harvest date, and you start to see these signs of downy mildew or powdery mildew happening, and these are two of the really sort of big things that you have to avoid. You're going to start introducing flavors to it, and the more that they grow, that your yields will go down, and you start losing the ability to kind of sort them. Even if you take them off the stems and you take the individual berries, you start losing that ability because it just starts affecting so much. And so then you're at the point where a lot of winemakers are starting to have to make that call, right? Do I wait and have a lot of grapes I've got to get rid of, or do I harvest now and maybe not have the development that I want of the flavors, and not have the kind of the balance that I want in the wine? Or do I start using, and of course there are now chemicals that you can add in after your harvest to try to sort of counteract the bad influence of those bad flavors coming from the mold. And nobody wants to do that. No winemaker wants to be putting something like that in, but also they want to make the right product. So yeah, having a disease pressure free year is brilliant for a winemaker. It just means that you're free to make the right choices. And so he says he's made the right choices here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's have a quick browse.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, we can.
Obviously very fruity, but cherry and chocolate, that Black Forest Gatto kind of. I haven't had a Black Forest Gatto for a very long time. I've had a lot of wines that taste like them, but when was the last time you had a Black Forest Gatto?
Probably when I was working in restaurants that had a dessert trolley.
Well, yeah, dessert, exactly, yeah.
Had a slice of Black Forest Gatto off that, yeah.
Oh.
That was probably the last time I saw I had a Black Forest Gatto.
Do you know what I had at the weekend, which I hadn't had for a similar length of time, was a lemon meringue pie. They used to be everywhere. Every single restaurant had a lemon meringue pie on the menu. You don't see them anywhere now. And it was absolutely wonderful. It wouldn't have gone with this wine, but some of the other ones, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The Riesling, maybe, yeah. But yeah.
Anything in Q&A?
Let's have a look at the Q&A. So we've got wine 4 reminds me of sauerkraut. Well, that's interesting because again, these things do go together, and what grows together goes together. And one of his recommendations was a goulash, which also has that kind of sourness to it. And so yeah, you've got a sour cherry flavor to it for sure. And I think that's very interesting. I like it. No idea why the chat is selectively working or not working, but yes, do feel free to use that question and answers tab in there.
Do put your notes in, even if it's not a question. Yeah. Use it just to type erroneously.
Yeah, exactly. Just abuse us for our shirts or whatever.
Rude.
Well, that's actually quite a
It's very calm
quite a calm shirt for you tonight. Brilliant. Okay, well, shall we move to a bit of Pinot?
I think we should. I think we should. Right. So this is new. This is fun.
This is new and fun.
Brilliant. So we are in North Canterbury, so still on the South Island, about halfway up Christchurch kind of way, as far as a big town.
So North Island.
No,
South Island. Okay, where are we?
North Canterbury.
Oh yeah, I see it. I can't read it, but I sort of see it there. Yep. Okay.
If you look in your brochure.
Oh yeah, I've got. I even put that there, didn't I? No.
Look at that. See, we can do what we can do. So the story about this one. This is from my my South American importer friends who have spread their wings to do some New Zealand stuff, and I tasted this. I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And I tasted,
and they've got good taste. We know the guys.
And I tasted this at the wine fair, and I'm like, I want it for the tasting.
I want this one. Yes, it will be mine.
And I got told we've had some issues. There was massive storms coming out of New Zealand, so the shipment had been delayed twice, and it's like it's meant to be coming out. It's meant to be coming out. It's meant to be coming out. And I'm like,
So we've been holding on until then.
and I'm like, when are you expecting? Like, we think it's going to be the week of X, and I'm like, if it comes at the beginning of that week, I've still got time to bring it in, pack it, process it, have it in this tasting. If it doesn't, I need to find something else very quickly. But I'm really excited. I taste it. I just thought this is absolutely brilliant. So just, we are, I'm guessing, one of the first people in the UK to
try this,
to have this wine. So we've got a couple of videos here, just because A, I think it's brilliant, and B, they can tell the story. So we've got an intro. I think it's that one. Yep. So we've got an intro that just tells the story of David Teese and why he decided he was going to do what he's going to do. We'll then come back, have a look at tasting notes, and then we've got a second little 2-minute video that is just a tasting with the winemaker.
Tasting with the winemaker. Who is a master of wine?
Always helpful.
Always helpful.
David, he's not a follower, so he wasn't going to plant any vineyards or buy a vineyard in Blenheim. It was so far away from the other vineyards, I thought this was a pretty risky venture. As you come up from Christchurch, you see the vineyards in Waipara, and then there's nothing. After he showed me the vineyard, it was clear to me that this was a stunning, stunning site for grapes. It was absolutely worth it.
Mount Beautiful Vineyard and Winery is located about an hour and a half north of Christchurch and about 45 minutes north of the wine-growing region of Waipara. Fairly isolated in terms of wine production, but we really like it like that.
David tells me that he had been away from New Zealand for quite a long time. When he saw all the plantings in Blenheim, he realized he had missed the boat up there. Tracked down a gentleman named Ron Sutherland. The brief was to scour the South Island to see if a site existed. David probably forgot he sent him out to do that, and Ron probably came back to him and said, I found it, and David said, found what? David had to buy 3 farms, and they planted the grapes along the ridge, so the vineyard actually follows along the ridge line on these 3 different properties outside of Cheviot.
This site is actually in like a small bowl of a valley, if you like. It's quite a little microclimate here. We can be very, very hot in the summer. Vice versa, when the hills around us have got snow on them, we're subject to frost. We are looking after our environment. We spray seaweed onto the vines once every 10 days. What New Zealand wine is looking for, and sustainable wine growing, is to show that you are being a responsible caregiver of the land. When you talk about terroir, it's about everything that encompasses the site. That's the weather, the trees, the land. I also believe that people are part of that terroir because it requires passion and energy for all this to happen, and that's why I say they're part of the terroir.
Most people, when they're developing a new vineyard, they cut down all the trees, do a lot of landscaping, level all the ground out. But we've, at Mount Beautiful, have tried to keep it as natural as possible. It's just a really nice rolling vibe to it. It's got character, and really the biggest activity is what we're doing today. Harvest has started, and it's the best time of year to really see how your hard efforts all year are paid off. In any given year, we're probably about 2 weeks behind Marlborough to the north of us. We end up with some really interesting depth of aromatic character in the fruit throughout the whole range of wines, but particularly in the Sauvignon Blanc and the Pinot Noir.
I've been in the wine industry now for 25, 30 years. The last 5 years I've been a winemaking consultant here at Mount Beautiful.
I've been in the wine industry for 30 years. I grew up in Marlborough. Love this region. It's full of all the things I like to do outside.
Having the winery on site allows us to bring the parcels in as and when we want to. We're very lucky. We do a combination of hand picking and machine picking. In the winery, the red wine cellar is undercover. If we wanted to expand that, we're able to extend further out to the east. The white winemaking area is out to the west. We're busy building and looking at building a barrel hall and a wine storage location next year, which again will give us to look after our own product here on site.
Mount Beautiful Taste Room is located in Cheviot, North Canterbury. When you come for a tasting, you can taste our current vintages, including Rosé, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Gris, Chardonnay, Riesling, and Pinot Noir. They're an amazing family of wines. Everybody gets hired for one thing, but ends up doing a lot more. We take on a lot of different responsibilities beyond what our initial brief is. And that includes having fun, as well as, working hard. Being a small town, you end up knowing a lot of the people in the immediate area, and Mount Beautiful has a good sense of family and community.
Really love the North Canterbury climate and the wines that we get from the region. We get a lot of fruit flavours, purity of flavour, lovely acidity in the wines, and I really think that they tell us a lot and tell a great story about New Zealand.
It says Mount Beautiful, but the mountain itself isn't beautiful, but the view is just stunning. You can see the vineyard and the whole valley, really. When people come out, we want them to experience what it is to live in North Canterbury. The team lives and works up here, and it's all kind of a one big happy lifestyle, really.
Well, that was fascinating. I mean, I love this kind of attitude of trying to explore, find new land, and to conquer it and find the best things to grow there. I think it's especially when you see the results of this good, it's great fun.
Yeah. So we've got our tasting notes here. We can have a quick look at, but let's have a quick look at our tasting notes, and then we can compare it to those of the winemaker.
That makes sense. Yep. So I like the fact we have Ribena. Obviously, it's a classic Pinot style of things, but we have everything from custard to tobacco, which is great. I'm really enjoying this wine, I have to say. I think it's really delicious. We also have a question. I think it's from Russell saying, "How did you choose this exotic selection of grapes for the wines of New Zealand? Because it wasn't what he expected." And I think that's fair because, we've done tried to cover a lot of the expected grapes, but there's just so many to choose from.
Absolutely. So let's do the other video first, and then I'll come back and I'll explain my theories.
Alrighty then. So next video is that one.
The one that says Estate Pinot Noir.
It doesn't until you hover over it, though, does it?
Well,
New Zealand is so well known for its Sauvignon Blanc, but equally, we are incredibly well known for our Pinot Noir, aren't we?
We are, yep. North Canterbury Pinot Noir, underrated gem in the country.
The characteristics you get from North Canterbury Pinot Noir, but also New Zealand Pinot Noir, these beautiful red cherry, black cherry, spicy notes, and depending on the region within New Zealand, that is either elevated up or whether it's elevated down into a bit more savouriness. North Canterbury is a bit more of the florals and the perfumes.
Yeah, this one's quite elegant in style, lovely perfumes. We use a small amount of new oak, about 15 to 18%, just to add a little bit of complexity and to lift some of those kind of more complex aromas.
Yeah, and to add to that, the wine we hand-pick the fruit. The fruit goes across the sorting table. We add around 10% whole bunch to the ferment. Whole bunch goes to the bottom of the tank, and that just adds a spiciness and a bit of intrigue into the Pinot.
Yeah, it adds a bit of phenolic component that ages really, really well. And these wines that we produce here at Mount Beautiful, especially the Pinot Noirs, got good ageability.
The palate, I think, from this Pinot is beautiful. It's that silkiness, it's the velvetness. And that's a combination of really good fruit, gently handling, gentle pump over, some time on skins post-fermentation, and then time in barrel.
Yeah, that time in barrel is pretty essential. It helps to integrate and gives us those lovely silky kind of tannin qualities that we're looking for.
Yeah. This sort of wine would go wonderfully well in any occasion, winter foods, game foods. So good health.
Yeah, cheers.
And happy Pinot drinking.
Always better to hear it from the horse's mouth, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think two great videos that first off shared a vision of what they wanted to achieve, and then this is why the wine is how it tastes. I think it's absolutely brilliant. We've done a little bit of research in that video, and it seems that it's a YouTube issue. If you are following us on Facebook, you are able to chat and comment, but there seems to be an issue with the gremlins in YouTube at the moment. So we're sat here on Restream. We're getting notes in from other platforms, but there seems to be a YouTube issue.
But then I can't see other people's ones or ones I put in on YouTube either. So well, there we are. The joys of these things. We are still very much appreciating your amazing tasting notes, and I think this is really interesting because you taste a Pinot Noir, a pure Pinot Noir after something like a Zweigelt that might have a little bit more power, and I think there's a couple of people who said it's a touch watery in comparison to that. But I think if you just think about place for this wine, you think this is the sort of wine you'd want to have with a roast chicken or something like that, rather than the steak of the last wine. But I think the quality level of this is actually a step up from an already great Zweigelt.
So
lovely.
Anyway, you can sip that for a second before we go on to wine 6,
and you can tell us a bit about my
selection
process. Yeah.
So when it comes to there's two things. Like we've been doing this for 5 years now, and there's kind of that when you do the first one, it's like world's your oyster, pick everything, do all the grapes to that. One of these, one of these. What I try and do as much as I can now is I want to be able to showcase. If we do a country, I want to be able to showcase the breadth of it. I want to be able to showcase some things that are absolutely typical. So if you've never had New Zealand wine before, you go, all right, this is what New Zealand Pinot is like. Yeah. This is what New Zealand Sauvignon is like. Okay, great. So you can get an idea of if you're going to walk into your independent wine make sure something you're going to pick off the shelf or you're going to be in a restaurant. Cool. That's what New Zealand wine is about. Brilliant. And that's what, probably 70% of New Zealand wine is those kind of things. However, it's a wine tasting club and we want to be able to explore new things. So while trying to keep a story going, it's finding stuff that is a point of difference to go, all right, so we'll talk about like Otago. We talk about Otago and go, you know what, it makes some of the best Pinot Noir on the planet. So we'll do a Riesling.
We'll do a Riesling,
because we can. And I think sometimes things are a little bit different, get underrepresented, you don't see it. And I think we talk about Central Otago and if we go to the Loire Valley, we'll generally chuck a Sancerre in there, but it's nice to do something that you go, well, this one breaks the rules and isn't there?
Yeah.
So the idea is to give a sense of place and really champion what is great about New Zealand, for example, but then also the little hidden gems that you go,
ooh, didn't know about that.
Didn't know that existed. Yeah. Never have tried that. So I think when we look at it, the things that we have here that are the classics, we're doing a Sauvignon Blanc, absolutely classic. We're doing the Pinot Noir, even though it's not Otago, it's a little bit further north. So it's in that similar ilk. It's a South Island Pinot Noir. And then the last one we're going to do is the Syrah from Hawke's Bay, which they are brilliant for Bordeaux and Rhone varietals. And then between that, I've dotted something, a grape we know from a region you might not expect.
Yep.
And we've got Zweigelt, which is an interesting grape you might not have had.
Yeah, let alone from
someone you might not expect. And then the Albarino, I think, is a sign of how people are following trends,
global trends,
something that's
where things are going.
So they're, as much as sometimes what turns up in your tasting pack might seem very random, like what has he done this?
There's a method in the madness. There is a method in the madness.
And I think another big part of it is I really like to work with people that I like to work with. The wineries who will help us with the content to share the stories. That will come on, will send us the videos, will get us the tasting notes, will help us bring these things together. That's huge.
And he was hobnobbing with a whole bunch of people last night, which is why he's tired. And we've got some great guests coming up again. We also have some returning guests who hopefully will be joining us again.
No one's signed up.
No one's signed yet, but I'm not naming names. I'm not naming names, but we have some.
We've got someone coming on next month. No, we don't.
Well, I thought we did. Anyway, right. Well, that's why I've learned to not name names, but we do have people coming up, and that is good news. But Pinot Noir, delicious. I think it's a really subtly done one. It's nice and balanced. It is so many of the delicious things that I like from New World Pinot Noir.
And I think when we get to the prices, it showcases value for money. When you compare this quality to anywhere else in the world,
Yeah, compare that quality from California, and you will, yeah. So we shall move the tasting notes on to the final wine. There are no more questions in the Q&A, but do pop them in if you have any. And we are now going to end off with Syrah, New Zealand's power grape.
Is this when I say, what's tomato with you? No. See, and the fact is, I can say that, and no one can comment on the chat unless they're no. No one can boo
unless they're on
my
Facebook,
horrifically bad jokes. Paul, we're thinking about some level of food pairing thing. We might do a cheese and wine again because I like that. That's good fun. So, but anyway,
we were looking at some potentially some kind of cold cuts of meat that might survive the journey as well. So, but watch this space. It's there are many options.
So this is our final one night. So we are heading for the first time tonight to the North Island, and the North Island has some brilliant wines, but it's not as it's popular, the word I'm looking. Not as big as, you don't see as many bits get here. You know, Auckland and Waiheke and Gisborne and Martinborough. Brilliant wine producing regions, but very small, very boutiquey, lots of very small producers. So it doesn't always get over it.
Yeah,
Hawke's Bay is probably the best known region of the North Island, and it's in the kind of the southeast-ish bit of it, and a lot of gravel soil there. There's a region within Hawke's Bay called Gimlet Gravels because of the gravel soil, and this is tomato. And they've been around since 1896.
Wow.
So, in the scheme, we talk about New Zealand wine really kind of getting its global status started probably in the 70s was when it became kind of known around the globe. So they've been doing it for 80 years before that. That's impressive. So they do everything off their own vineyard sites, and they've got multiple vineyard sites within Hawke's Bay. They've got Dartmoor, they've got the Par Triangle, and they've got Gimlet Gravels. And the Syrah from here, it just reminds me of Northern Rhone. It really is a bit more fruit.
Yeah,
but it's got that darkness, it's got that earthiness, it's got that oomph about it.
It's nothing like an Aussie Shiraz.
No, so and I think this is, we talk, most New Zealand Syrah is labelled Syrah. I don't think you see any Shiraz.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. No.
But because if you go, what is this style more like? If you had to, yes, it's its own style. I'm not going to go back to. But if you sat on the fence, you go, is this a Shiraz? Is this like an Aussie Shiraz, or is this like a Rhone Syrah? You're definitely on that meaty, chewy, earthy style.
Earthier, yeah. I mean, it's not. I've had some Californian ones which dive fully into that kind of like proper old world style, like complete with a hit of some Brettanomyces in there as well, like horsey sort of flavors. This is not that, but it's more on that side than it is on the fruit bomb kind of black pepper.
12 months new French oak that kind of gives that richness to it, that helps that kind of go through. I just think it's these guys they make brilliant wine. I remember one of the first wines I had from them was like an aged Sauvignon Blanc. So I must have been tasting that in, it must have been 10 or 12 years old. And it was brilliant. It was really, really, really good. See, as I said, I just read those. I don't do those. I just read what the people at home say, leathery pair. So, it's 2022. So it's got a couple of years, but you're really starting to see some of those tertiary characteristics start to develop, that leatheriness, that kind of earthiness.
Well, the crazy thing is that we say 2022 is a couple of years ago. It's now 4 years ago. It's like they keep ticking on, and yeah. So, but it's still early to start to generate.
Because 1994 was only 10 years ago.
It was only 10 years ago, precisely.
So
but I think this feels quite sort of subtly done. They've given it a little bit of fining, as again is traditional in that sort of Northern Rhone style. A lot of red wines have an egg white fining, and where they effectively put in some egg whites to help bring some of the more, let's say, more dubious bits and pieces together. It forms a sort of it's how, like, just like how you clarify a soup.
Yeah.
It all comes together and then it gets filtered out. So while it was used there in the production, it's gone. You aren't taking in egg white. No one wants egg white in their wine, but it gathers up all of the stuff, and that can lead to a much smoother, more enjoyable wine. Otherwise, I think it feels very, very old world winemaking style, doesn't it? Which is the fascinating contrast that you've got on this country, which thrives on modern scientific winemaking and mechanization and big scale industrial things. You've also got this more kind of craft style, even from some of the bigger, more traditional people. So,
but we say it feels, but it's only 13%. It's not massive. It's not a massive Syrah. It's well balanced. It's kept in check, but this is lamb shank all day, every day.
I quite like this with some cheese.
Cheese? Okay, grommet. So what cheese are you having with this then?
So I've got things like Manchego on my mind at the moment for obvious reasons. I could work with something crumbly like that, or it could work with something a bit softer potentially.
See, I think this with a soft blue, like a Roaring 40s or something. Not a big Stiltony blue, but kind of like a light. Is it Cotswolds make a blue brie? That would be good. Not a blueberry. A blue brie. We've got to make sure everyone knows what we're talking about.
A blue brie, not a blueberry.
A blueberry blueberry. Let's not do that one.
I have this wonderful video of my daughter from when she was just learning to talk. So, Annabelle, would you like a blueberry? She goes, blah blah. I'm like, sorry, what? Can you say blue? Blue. Can you say berry? Berry. Can you say blueberry? Blah blah. It's very much like the Joey thing from Friends, but yeah, it's yes. Let's not go into that one too much. They say on their tasting notes, I can see that there's hints of Turkish delight. I'm not guessing that. I'm not, but I do often get that with like Gewürztraminer or something. I'm not massively getting Turkish delights, but maybe you are. Maybe you are. That's the wonderful thing, is that everyone's sensitive to these different smells and tastes differently. But it's got that chocolatey, leathery, peppery characteristic that you'd associate with that sort of wine. But it's subtle. It's subtle. I like it. Very nice indeed.
I think it's...
Do you know one thing that I find very odd about North Island? So you've got Hawke's Bay, which is other kind of, like you say, the southeast part of it, and that's where you grow all the really hot, like flavor intense. I need a lot of heat to ripen up things like Syrah, and then you go north to where it's hotter on paper. At least north should be hotter because we're in the southern hemisphere, and you grow Chardonnay. And that strikes me as counterintuitive, and I've never properly understood why Gisborne, not to the north of Hawke's Bay, maybe it's less sheltered. I don't know.
They make some interesting things. There's a winery in Gisborne that make an Arnaise, which is,
as you do,
cool. But you think where you are, you're still coastal, so you've got that breeze coming in at Gisborne, But then you go, so you have the reds there, then you have this kind of like white area in the middle, and then you go up the top with like Waiheke Island and Auckland, and
then they're back to the
big boys. But
an island of many mysteries and many surprises.
California's hot. That grows a lot of Chardonnay.
That's true.
The fact is, you can grow a lot of things in a lot of places depending what you want your final wine to be. So, do we think it's one last look at the tasting notes?
I think, yes.
Is it
I think it might be quiz o'clock. I feel that's a good idea. But yeah, all of the wonderful things you'd expect from a Syrah going on in there, raisins through to the tertiary things like tobacco, leather. It's a lovely, smooth, old world, but not too old world style Syrah. Paul's been enjoying them, and I wish we could hear from a few more people, but that is not what's happening. So we've got someone who's having Baron Bygod with Snipes wines. Now that sounds a nice combination. That would go very good.
I like Baron Bygod. I like Baron Bygod when they do the truffle one as well. That's
yes. Wonderful. So I shall move the how do I do this? I've got to go
Go
back down to there, and I can bring it onto the wine quiz. So for those who haven't taken part before, this is all just for fun, but also
Not
just for fun, because
So-
if you win,
you can send to a friend, not someone
Not-
who's already
not
had
to
one,
yourself,
not
not
to
to
yourself,
you.
not to your own home address, to somebody else
spoiler, it's
Who
to
would-
spread the club.
who would like to enjoy the club.
Yep.
Please send them.
Send
we
them
will
a
send them
tasting
next
pack.
month's tasting
So
pack.
so do
And
join.
speaking, let's see, I can do my housekeeping here while everyone
Oh
gets in.
yeah,
Next month's tasting will be Wines of Jumilla,
Wines
which
of
is
Jumilla.
a fun little region that makes a lot of Monastrell in the southeast of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Not,
Do you know anyone who?
not in the quiz tonight, so I can say.
Yeah, no. Have you
Can
been
you
there
get-
before?
No,
No, you haven't. No.
but
okay.
I shall. We're getting some wonderful support from the Wines of Jumilla for next month. So I'm heading there next Wednesday to go and meet all the winemakers who will be with us on the show next month. Do some filming, hang out,
Eat some
and
food, drink
get
some wine.
a real cultural tour to bring that back to you.
Brilliant,
month.
brilliant.
And can I speak at cultural tours? We did put an email out
Mhm.
about a wine trip. We're going to do a wine trip. I've got a QR code for it.
Oh, okay.
We've got a wine trip. So it was originally going to be September. The hotel we're going to use has changed ownership, so we've had to change the hotel. So it's now October. We need 14 people to make it happen. We've got a few in. We're looking for people to put a deposit down. If we don't get the 14, you get your money back. That's no problem. But if you scan the QR code, I'm going to send an email tomorrow with the stuff in there. We want to try and get this locked in by the weekend so I can go back to the tour guide and book it in. I know it's lots of moving parts and lots of people, but we need to get those people in so we can then give you the details to get the flights. 3 days in the Rhone Valley, food, wine, tour, me. So, 2 out of 3.
The
aren't bad.
inside access to the Rhone. Oh, which is a cool place. It is a cool place.
and
So I'll leave that there for a while.
And we're going with Slurp wine tours. Ian, that's what he does. He does wine tours. So it's not me having picked a few places to go, let's go. We've got a proper wine tour in behind us, organising the transport, the dinners, the lunches, all that kind of stuff. And I've had a bit of input as to which wineries we're going to go to and talk through. So
Brilliant.
anyone who's in on that, and it's not just club members. If you've got friends you want to come with, book it up. Bring whoever you like. It'll be a lot of fun. So anyway,
Okay, amazing. We are going to start the wine quiz, and we're going to go to question 1. So question 1. Oh
you've
no,
just gone to
just gone
wine
to.
one.
What am I doing? Right, wine quiz. Sorry, I thought that was right. Okay, next. Here we are. So why is Central Otago so notable as a wine region? Is it because it has more sheep per vine than any other region? It's possible.
Sheep per vine ratio.
We did see some sheep in the videos. Is it tied for the most southernmost commercial wine region in the world? Is it because the vines actually photosynthesize upside down, courtesy of the Coriolis effect? Or is it the only place where Pinot Noir ripens while wearing a beanie?
Well, whatever the answer, I would like there to be that standard. I would like a sheep fur vine for everyone.
Most people seem to think it's tied for the southernmost commercial wine region in the world. There might have been some slight mention of it, and they are correct.
And remember, you get
points
for being right,
speed.
but then fastest wins. Let's go.
So, leaderboard, Rich and Sue in the lead. Heading on to the next question. Ready?
Go.
Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc often gets tarred with descriptions like catwee, but which of these is better? Are we talking grassy and herbaceous, a tropical fruit salad, a buttery oak bomb, or a funky Brett party? I mean, that sounds fun. I mean, wasn't Brett one of the Brett and Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords?
That was
classic New Zealand comedy. Classic New
I'm
Zealand
glad we
comedy.
linked that in with
somehow.
actually not having planned that.
No, that was not planned. So that's very good. That's very
no
good.
one wanted a funky Brett party.
No one voted that. I think that's fair. That's fair. The answer that we were looking for, although it's very fruity as well, but the classic one is grassy and herbaceous. We shall move on to the next question after we've seen Viola's in the lead. Brilliant.
There's seconds in it.
It's so close. It's so close.
It's like the downhill ski at the Winter Olympics.
Indeed. Okay. So Hawke's Bay is home to New Zealand's oldest surviving vineyard, which is Mission Estate. But what is the funniest part of the origin story of that particular vineyard for wine geeks? Is it because it's a Holy Communion wine project that got wildly out of hand? Is it because the priest thought that Bordeaux blends meant blending wine with holy water? Is it because someone said Shiraz during a confession they all got mixed up? Or was it because it's before phylloxera and the invention of the screw cap?
So just before you go, it's 21%, 21%, 36%, and 21%. It's a split vote.
This is a very split vote. That might be our most split question ever. It predates both phylloxera and the invention of the screw cap. So that is very, very interesting there. Okay. Kiwi winemakers, as we've pointed out, love their screw caps. But what do they like to point out? Is it because corked wines are very rare, so it's practically a collector's item? Is it because you can open it without having to carry a Swiss Army knife or a online wine tasting club wine key? Or is it because they were screwing the caps on while the French were still arguing about whether a 10% failure rate was totally fine? Or maybe all of the above.
So
and a plug.
Is that you plugging? This is what happens.
It might be.
This is what happens when you write the quiz, isn't it?
Hooray! It is. The answer is all of the above.
Yes, indeed.
So voila.
So you should have given
Excellent.
points for everything, shouldn't you? Really?
Paul now into the lead. Okay, it's very, very tight though.
Paul's
okay.
in the lead, but he can't get one wrong because he's not got the speed.
Seyfried, with its Austrian and New Zealand heritage, is the oldest continuously operated vineyard in New Zealand. What's so special about their Sweet Agnes wine, which is named after Agnes, his wife? Is it because it pairs perfectly with a lamb schnitzel? Is it because it has significantly less sugar than Coca-Cola? Is it because it's the most awarded New Zealand wine ever? Or did Herman invent it by mistake by leaving grapes too long out in the heat wave?
To be fair, this is one of my favourite dessert wines on the planet. It's so good.
It is flipping excellent.
So good that it wins awards.
It does win awards. I think my parents were trying it in the vineyard. Or actually, no, I think they didn't try it in the vineyard. Then they tried it at the hotel because the hotel said, if you haven't tried this, you need to try it. So it is indeed the most awarded New Zealand wine ever. There we are. Paul
Still
retaining
there.
the lead, but everyone on his heels. Okay, and what has I been drinking this week? Is it some great Rioja? Is it a bit of Albarino? Is it some Verdejo? Is it the Osborne Veterano brandy? Or is it all of the above?
Drinking some great
There are
Rioja.
some links,
I remember-
some say, between those.
I remember that song. That was a
Drinking
good
some
song,
great. I
wasn't
had
it,
my
that?
daughter on it. She's very embarrassed by that these days. I tried to play it to her the other day and she was like, oh, don't, Dad, don't.
Has Alex been
Correct.
taking all of the above?
All of the
Yes,
above.
Yes, he has.
Naturally, because I've been in Spain, so you can get to do that next week. Paul retains the lead. Tilly closing in there. Oh,
Hey, you know what? It just proves that people have listened.
Oh,
doesn't
my
it? It
word.
just proves, you know.
okay. Right, where are we going in October? Hopefully, Rhone, Rioja, Burgundy, and Piemonte.
I am.
You are.
You gotta look after the house. Yeah, I put one question in. It's 100%. I'm after
How
the
about
people who look
that?
at that.
Everyone
Done.
knows that. Brilliant. Okay,
Done.
is
That's
that
just
it?
how-
Oh no! What percent? You put more questions in. Is this the last one?
This is the last one. See how it says 8 of 8 there.
It does. What percentage of New Zealand wineries hold organic certification? 6, 16, 33, or 62%? Ooh,
Oh, it's gone up that much.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. Okay.
See, I think
I-
it's going to be. People are going to think
Oh,
it's
there
that.
we are.
Ah.
Oh.
So, just to let you know that it has increased 6% since the last in a year.
Have we left the wrong thing on the screen? So that's why we got 100%. Yes. Lots of people thinking 33 or 62%, but the answer was 16%. So that's a great even.
So what's interesting though is 98% of all producing vineyard areas are certified by the Sustainable New Zealand Wine Growers.
Yep.
98 is
Big.
certified sustainable.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But only 16% are organic, which I think shows you don't have to be organic to be perfect.
No, exactly.
You can be sustainable. You
In
can
fact,
be green.
you can be
you
organic and be bloody
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
So
I think
as we've talked about
sustainability
before.
and making good decisions is more important sometimes. Anyway, but
Agreed.
what does
So
this
who's
mean?
won? Paul wins.
Paul wins.
That was a
Oh,
very big
good.
divider, but wow, that was very close indeed. So
Fantastic. So Paul,
Paul,
send
let
us
us
a
know
note.
who
Let us know
gets one
who
this
wants it.
time.
So
Okay.
before we head out, should we
Ooh.
have a look at the prices? So people know what's
Should we
going
do
on?
wines of the night first, then?
Oh, we'll
Price?
do wines of the night then. Let's do
What
wines
has
of the
just
night.
happened? I don't know what's just happened. Okay. All right. So wines of the night. Do vote. I'm going to hide that as is traditional. And we will let you know what the answers are.
So I'm just putting things up for people to buy. If you are joining us as a one-off and you want to come and see us for Humia, he's got away. Back to the QR codes, sir.
What?
Back to the QR codes.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. All right.
So if you joined us as a one-off and you enjoyed it, come and see us for Humia or join the club. Come every now and again.
And save £5.
These wines are bagging. These wines are so cool, so fun, so delicious. Can you tell I'm a bit excited?
You're quite excited. He's quite excited. There's one that Ray was always very excited about as well. So,
and 2 of the wines are not imported into the UK yet, so you'll be the only people drinking. So,
that's cool.
And we have a very limited amount. So once the tasting packs are gone, I can't get any more wine to make any more. So if you want some,
I will tell you this: that the wines tonight are very, very tight indeed. So, so if you do really like one, make sure you vote for that. So yeah, wines of Humia. What else have we got planned? Have we got some other things we can talk about or not yet?
Well, I'm talking to a few people, so we are going to do something with American wines. I've been with Wines in New York and Wines of Oregon. We might do an overall American thing. We might do a actually real regional thing. Sarah, who joined us for Wines of Ukraine, would like to do another tasting.
You just told me I couldn't mention names.
Well, I can because you're going to say something, and I'm not. I can tell you what I'm held accountable for. So yes,
right.
So we've talked to a few people who might join us, a few people who come back. And yeah, hey, if you want to see someone cool on here, tag them and tell them to give us a shout.
Yeah, absolutely. But various other people who are being very keen, and that's all very exciting. How are we doing? Should we give it another? Like 30, no. Do you know what? It's a very clear winner actually now. It's very tight, apart from the winner. It would be wholly inappropriate, I suppose, if it weren't the wine of the
classic. The wine the country has made famous is the winning wine of the night. Wine number one.
It is the New Zealand. And so here we are on the prices. I'm still most impressed by that Mount Beautiful Pinot Noir being one of the cheaper wines, but also the wine of the night is the cheapest wine of the evening. And that's I think you've seen the extra that you get by going from that kind of £8 supermarket bottle to that £21. You get so much more care, so much more intensity, and so much more complexity of the flavors. So yeah, but some other cracking ones in there from I think the Syrah's great value as well. And you know, lots of fun things to have. But isn't it funny how the reds are generally a little bit under the price of some of the whites? Maybe it's because you picked rarer whites.
Yeah, I think the Averino is tiny. So
yeah. Brilliant. So I shall turn that off while we do that, and I will just leave it to you and say sorry about the YouTube chat.
We'll talk to the
issues. We'll talk to Google's. And let me just have a last quick check in that Q&A, if I can find where that's gone, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. No, we're not. So all that remains to say, he's off to Humia. We hope to see you next month, and we hope you've enjoyed New Zealand.
If I come back from Humia.
If you come back, indeed.
Brilliant. Have a great night.
Take care.
If you want to come to Rome, give me a shout. We need to get it sorted.
Good stuff.